Hello, church family. Pastor Aaron coming to you here on this beautiful mid-October afternoon. Excited to bring you some next steps as we are working together on this reopening process here at State College Alliance Church. And so let me ask you to take a moment right now as you settle into this video to think back with me at some of the twists and turns that we have come through so far in this calendar year. First of all, when I reflect all the way back to January, I remember preaching a message to you about we need to be movement people, not monument builders. And I had no idea when I was preaching that how much those things would be tested back in January. In March, when we got shut down, we had to move to get our services to you online, and we have not been as active ever since. Each one of these kind of stages represents, in my mind, kind of a bend in the road. When you think about a trip that you'd be taking in your car, you come up to a sharp bend, you begin to slow down, you begin to evaluate, and then you take your turn. So in March, we were sort of shutting things down, moving things online. In July, we did another pivot, and we were then able to gather together, and we were able to join together on the church lawn. And, you know, praise the Lord, up to this point, we have not been rained out one time in that season. And we're just so thankful for the Lord's provision. It oftentimes rained later in the day or earlier in the weekend, but our Sunday mornings have been largely protected from rain. So grateful for that. In addition, throughout this season, we've been able to reactivate, kids ministry, youth ministry, campus ministry, even prime timers got together for a luncheon. And so we're thankful to see an increase in activity in the life of our church. And we're so grateful for the church family that we have. So now we're coming up to another bend in the road. And we know that lovely weather like this is not going to last forever. Boy, I wish it would give us another 3 to 6 months of this. But as it continues to get colder, we know we're not going to be able to meet outside. And so November 1st, we're going to be starting a new process. And this video is really designed to help you understand with crystal clarity what we are going to be doing. One of the themes that our staff and our leaders have been working through has been this idea of certainty and clarity. And we recognize as leaders, we're not able to give perfect certainty right now. We can't say exactly what the future holds and what the timeline is going to be, but in every area that we can, we want to give you clarity. So here's what we are endeavoring to do beginning November 1st. We know we're not going to be out on the church lawn any longer. That's been a sweet time. We've enjoyed that, but we're going to be now moving in a different direction as we pivot in this new season. So church, remember that Hebrews 10:25 tells us don't give up gathering together as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage each other. And we want to continue to do that in this season. We may not be able to gather the way that we did back in February, but we've continued to gather, and many of you are gathering with us online. That will continue to be an option for you November 1st and going forward. No matter what we do, we want to continue to remember almost a quarter of our people who have said by their survey, not ready to come out to a service. And so we'll continue to gather with you online. For those of you who are excited to get back into the building, we're going to be doing 3 services in the building at 8:30, at 10 o'clock, and at 11:30 so that you can gather together. And let me tell you what you'll experience when you're there. We're going to pre-record a service during the week that will not only be broadcast to our people, but we'll actually have a viewing of that here in the church. Keeping in mind, this is all in this interim period. This isn't the final part of our destination. This is where we are now. And so we'll have opportunities for you to gather together, to worship together. We are going to continue on doing a blended worship set similar to what we have been doing in the last several months. And we'll be gathering together at the times that we mentioned. We're going to limit those gatherings to 60 people. And so what we'll ask you to do is to actually RSVP the week before to let us know that you're planning to come at that given time. That way we can keep the numbers to a size that we feel is manageable at this season. And then as we move forward, we'll be able to increase things and do that better and better. We will be offering a kids ministry, children's ministry happening at the 11:30 service exclusively. So if you're the parents of young kids and you'd love for them to get plugged into the children's ministry here at State College Alliance Church, that will be happening at 11:30. As we mentioned already, we want you to RSVP before you come out. And many of you are already meeting in community groups and indicated on your surveys that you would like to continue to do that. And so you're going to have the opportunity to view in your community group, alone in your home or with your family, or coming out to the church service together at one of our 3 services that we will offer. And we do hope that we'll be able to see you at one of those events. Well, church, I want to give you a little bit of explanation because, as I mentioned before, some are probably thinking, well, why would we go this direction instead of this direction? There's lots of options and a lot of things that we could have done. And as our leadership has prayed through, let me give you a few key whys. Why did we land on a 60-person per service cap? Well, our leadership was already kind of leaning in that direction, looking at CDC guidelines, the size of our sanctuary, our ability to recirculate the air, all of those sort of things were making us pretty comfortable in that area. Your survey results were overwhelmingly, in fact, the largest group of survey respondents of people who said they would like to come in to the building for a service actually had 60 as their area. So it was a great confirmation of where the leadership was already leaning, and then your input was really helpful to us in making that decision. So that's why we landed at 60 as opposed to 25 or 100 or a different number. The other thing that maybe some of you would ask is, why are we doing a blended worship set? Again, this is a tough one. We're a church that has a history and some distinct things with our traditional service that utilizes hymns primarily and contemporary service, and we've moved into this interim period and done our best to try to balance some of the best of both worlds. And I like the unity in that. Our leadership likes the way that kind of allows us to be unified in worship, even though admittedly there's many of us that would say maybe a portion of that is not my first preference, or the style or arrangement isn't my first preference. But this was a wonderful confirmation that while we were asking the Lord to maybe help us pursue unity in this area for this time especially, your survey responses, again, were overwhelmingly supportive. You know, we had about 80% of our people that said, we really like the way that we're engaging in worship in this season. We're very, very grateful for that. Sure, there were some folks that said, you know, it's a little harder for me to worship this way, but the overwhelming majority of our folks said, we enjoy worshiping this way, and a portion of our folks even said, we actually like this mix better than what we were doing before. And so again, this is an example of a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas. We're trying to meet as many as we can, and your survey results really helped confirm that what we've been endeavoring to do in this season has been helpful. So if you find yourself in that place where it's just kind of a struggle for you, we just want to encourage you, don't give up on it just because it's not your first choice in this season, as we're trying to minister to as many people as we can. Let me give you one other example. Why did we decide to do a pre-recorded kind of one service offering for our church family? We labored over this for some time. I labored over this personally for some time. My rationale in coming to the place that I did, and I think where our elders finally landed, was this. If we were to put all of our energy and our effort right now into trying to recreate what we had in February, we may be able to do it, at least in some semblance. But the energy that it would require would not allow us to do something that I think is really important in this season. We are asking the Lord to give us sharp, clear direction on what He wants us to do as we emerge from this pandemic season. What about the increase in anxiety and depression and people in our community that are really struggling? What about the financial needs that people are going through? What about just the new seasons of ministry that the Lord wants us to be investing in? We have a relatively long list of things that we want to be praying about, and I'm asking our staff team to be investing in developing those things now. While yes, it feels like we're not able to do all the things we want to do, we are preparing for this next season. And so we're looking ahead, we're looking forward. Doesn't mean that what we're doing right now doesn't matter, but we want to simplify what we're doing now so that we can be more effective in where God is taking us in the future. So I want to share that with you just to let you know a little bit of my heart and process and the heart and process of our elder board. These are the plans that our elders have approved. These are the plans that our staff team is working toward. So we're not going to be out on the lawn anymore. We're coming to a new bend in the road. We're going to be bringing a service to you online as we have. And for those who are ready to be in the building, 3 services, 8:30, 10 o'clock, 11:30, with kids ministry being at 11:30. We're excited to see what God does in this next season. We believe He is teaching us, He is building us, He is shaping us, and He's got great things ahead. Church, we love you. We're thankful for you. We're grateful for your prayers. We're grateful for your input. Could I just continue to ask you, in this season, let's pull together, let's be for one another, let's keep our eyes up and see what God has for us in this difficult season. But God is with us in it. We love you. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.